Man, and our first match is Rain Future versus SP Belky. Do you want to go ahead and jump right into it?
Let's do it, man.
Okay, so here we go. Take it away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first introduction of our Mapmaker tournament. And this is our very first map, as Caspajama said before. It is Atlantis Spaceship, which is a pretty epic name for a map, so we'll have to see if the map lives up to the hype. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, we do have SP Belky. He will be the red Terran. And at the top left-hand corner, or should I say 12 o'clock position, we've got Rain Future, and it's interesting to note that this is a 2-player map, not a 4-player map.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and take a look at the map. Each of the new maps that we show, unless some crazy cheese happens at the beginning of the game, we're going to be going through the map and actually what it entails. So this is your main here on Atlantis Spaceship. Nothing too out of the ordinary. It's pretty big and droppable off to the very far reaches of the map, but it's not terribly accessible because if you see, you are actually close positions by air the way you start. So this is a symmetrical map down the middle where you have spawns on the right-hand and the left-hand side. Now, there's a lot of airspace up around the top, yes, that you can actually exploit, but if it's very long to actually get there because the map is large, and you have one of your two Xel'Naga towers actually watching that northern corridor. So, main to natural is pretty standard. There's a supply depot down at the bottom. You also have a natural that's pretty easy to hold on to, almost Daybreak-like, because you can forge fast expand or something right here, but then there's even ground out to this plateau, which has multiple attack paths leading into it. The third is kind of a similar situation as to Daybreak, where you have nice open spaces. It's going to be good for Zerg players to take, and also good for them to try and attack their opponents. Now, the kind of cool, clever features of this map are that you have, well, actually, let's see a Nexus first out of Future, but you have this attack path that goes along the bottom right-hand corner that's not seen by a Xel'Naga tower at all. It's completely accessible by any units that want to swing on by. That's actually a feature we really liked out of those maps, because we like things that aren't explicitly shown by Xel'Naga towers. So the Xel'Naga towers watch the north and the middle of the map. The other kind of clever feature is that here at your fourth base, which is on high ground, but still it's exposed to a couple of different, not just the attack path here, but also low ground. It's droppable. You actually have 3 gases, one of those being a rich Vespian geyser. So there's no gold expansion here, but you have 3 gas geysers at this expansion, almost like a rich gas expansion. So
yeah, well, that's a great breakthrough and guideline of the map, actually. Great job.
Thank you.
Nice introduction.
I spent a lot of time looking at these, so I better be prepared to explain them.
Well, the gist of what I get from this map, I haven't had as much time to analyze it, is, there's great Xel'Naga placement. One is centrally located in the middle, but
yes,
the top left, good for scouting air. But the feature I really like is the unique take to the late game on this map. It certainly looks like a map where you're going to have a lot of late game situations, despite it being a 2-player map. But the unique take really is that triple gas, which I think is going to be pretty good for Zerg, especially because Zerg really loves that gas. They love to gobble on Vespene in the late game. So it's going to be really nice for Zerg to kind of capture that center location. But, at the same time, it's not a gold. It's not something that we see day in and day out on maps that Blizzard kind of features, which is the gold expansion. So
yes,
it's very unique. It's very interesting. It certainly sets itself up for the late game, as we can see both players grabbing a very quick expansion, especially Future, who went for a 14 Nexus.
Another thing I really like about this map as well, and yeah, you're exactly right, 14 Nexus, and Belky decided to go with a quick expansion as well. Terrans are going to have a decent time holding this spot right here. Siege Tank right there will actually watch both of those attack paths. No real threat of any pressure, so it's easy for them to take 2 bases. But they can be exploitable a couple of different ways. Banshees have a lot less success because of how long that distance is actually between the 2 bases. You can see we're still going, we're still going, we're still going, we're still going. There, we're finally there. And look behind the mineral lines of the main. There's a ton of space back there, so the Banshees aren't going to have a really convenient cliff line to pick off a lot of units. They're going to have to commit themselves down to a mineral line and expose themselves to a lot of fire back there. So it's a nice little touch that I like.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think what you're trying to say is there's a lot of ground terrain to build up some static defense against air units that may come into your main.
Sure.
But at the same time, there's a lot of airspace. So there's certainly a lot of balancing factors, checks and balances, if you will, in play when it comes to the types of harass you can pull off on this map.
Right.
But let's go ahead and get to this game, man. We've got a 2-3 gates here backing up the quick expansion and a robotics facility.
Yes.
So that's 3-gate robo here, pretty standard stuff from Future. Just got to get that production out in order to support this very quick Nexus. And let's see what Belky's up to, man. He's got a bunker, 2 bunkers at the front, a barracks, and a factory with reactors. So, you know, he's just getting up his production as well. He may be a tad behind. I'd love to see more production coming out of him pretty soon.
He's going for a Marine tank against a Protoss player, not just sitting on bio and not going into super heavy mech at the moment. He's still double producing Marines, so he's really sitting on almost something you just see against a Zerg player.
Yeah, this fast factory with siege mode is a little uncommon. You don't usually see Terrans getting siege tanks against Protoss because they're so immobile. It's so hard to kind of pull them off, but with Belky getting siege tanks here, I'd love to see where he goes with this. Is he going to go with just a raw Marine tank build, like you said before? Very good against Zerg. It can be effective against Protoss, but, you know, you've got to be super attentive to your forces, and you don't want to get caught out of position with your immobile mech army.
Yes,
Three more factories going down.
Okay, so he is just going into mech Terran. Okay, wow. that was this. This was just to delude us for a little while. He was just making a few Marines there just to lead us astray and provide a little bit of defense in the beginning of the game, because clearly he's going right to mech.
Yeah, he's going.
Wow,
and he's getting blue flame right now.
Yep.
Interesting. So I guess he's just going to roll hardcore mech this game against Future. And, you know, with that many factories coming down, I wonder if he's going to just try to... I mean, he's got so many factories off of 2 base. I wonder if he's just going to play some 2 base aggression here. We'll have to see. Future is getting... No, he's getting charged right now on his Zealots. So
yes.
He's going to go with Charge on Archon here, which, you know, Charge Bots are great and everything, but against Blue Flame Hellions properly microed, they can take a lot to damage.
They really can. Let's see. He doesn't have any inclination of a heavy mech build yet, but he sure is here in just a second. Does he see? No, he sees a missile chart coming up, and that wasn't actually a missile chart. That was reactor. Whoa! He's going to be producing 6 Blue Flame Hellions at a time, in addition to a tank. This is extremely cost intensive. Dare I say that this is going to be all in a second. Yeah,
this is just all in on 2 base, man.
Wow. Okay.
That's kind of insane.
This is a little ridiculous.
Look at what Future did in response to this. He sent the observer in, he sees all the reactors, and he still continues to go with the expansion. At the same time, he's also getting a quick robotic support base, so he's going to try to get Colossus and play 3 base, so he's totally playing it standard.
Yeah.
He's not concerned about the amount of factories he's seen. I mean, let's be honest, I mean, Future's obviously a household name compared to Belky, so maybe Future just feels really confident about this. He thinks he can pull this off. I'm interested to see what's going to happen in the next couple of minutes.
This is actually bizarre. I actually like the Colossus switch, because Colossi are going to chew through a huge number of
Hellions and Marines.
Hellions. Yeah, we have 5 Hellions coming up at a time at the moment. My God! That's actually a pretty ridiculous number. They're starting to float up now. He's getting +1 weapons for his Marines. No other upgrades there, and I'm surprised he hasn't invested in an armory and just gone right for +1 weapons for his mech forces. Is that +1 for Marines is... I don't know, it's not going to do too much, so...
We'll just have to see, man. This is pretty concerted push right here. No command center coming down when you'd expect a CC to come out around this time. So Belky really just going to go with a 2-base rollout here. Zealot is going to go down. He's testing the waters for Future here. Now Future charging with a couple of Zealots. He's going to fall back. He's warping in additional Zealots as well. He doesn't really have much of a ground army here. He's going to have to be very careful. He does launch beautiful force fields. He catches some Hellions in the front and just barely stays out of range of the siege tanks in the back, so he's doing some pretty good work here, but those tanks are inching closer and closer, and the closer they get, the more trouble Future's in.
Yeah, certainly, and Belky's going to push in now, and you know, the one thing that Future really has going for him, though, is his 3rd base down to the bottom right. However, Colossi obliterating the first round of Marines and Hellions. Force field's actually sitting on top of a tank there. A poor tank was trapped. And it looks like Future's going to have a pretty good opportunity to just bust right on through this. These 3 tanks that are sieged up were doing quite a bit of damage. Looks like they are going to be able to get one of the Colossi, but these subsequent Hellions that are running in, I'm sorry, they're just not going to do anything against Colossi anymore.
That Immortal has been slaying tanks. It has 8 kills already, and most of those are tank kills. So that Immortal was destroying, it was demolishing that tank army.
Yeah.
Great micro by Future, really. And I don't even know if it was micro. He set the Immortal on target fire in the tanks, and he just let it go. Beautiful play. Now he's got a pylon in the middle of the map. He's warping in he's warping in forces to catch the forces as they fall back. Beautiful play. Future's coming in here with more forces. There's a tank on the high ground, so it's going to be able to keep Future at bay for now, but Belky really committing to that 2-base play, and he doesn't have another command center, so he's really falling behind now in terms of bases.
You're absolutely right, and he doesn't really have anything to show for this as well. He's going to fall way back in supply. Yes, he's going to be able to produce a lot of cheap Hellions, but this 3-base has fully kicked in now for Future. He's putting up his second gas there as well. He's got the Templar Archives coming up, and his robotics numbers are just going to soar. He's already double pumping Colossi, and that's just not ending. We finally have our first couple of Vikings about to hit the ground as well. So,
he has 17 Hellions on the field.
Yeah, but see, he's producing as many Vikings at a time as Future's producing Colossi. And I'm sorry, you've got to have 4 or 5 Vikings for every Colossus that's on the ground.
Man, this is rough. I mean, both armies look about the same. Honestly, if you looked at it right now, it would look pretty even, except for the fact that Future's got an extra base, and he's got 2 extra bases. So,
people were wondering about the amount of bases that were on this map as well. Caught that in the chat just a little bit. But bear in mind, folks, that you can take 5 up to 6 base if you decide to wrest control away from this one down at the bottom right. So this can indeed lead to very, very big macro games. And I like the fact that because there's just a single expansion down at the bottom right, it lends the map to a natural tug-of-war point. You can't just completely cut it in half, you know what I'm saying? So, because you can get a lot of stalemates or relatively slow boring games at that point, but this one you force control if you want to have economic advantage. So I think this map's very well designed. I have to credit the creator here. So
yeah, I mean, well, you did say that the creator was Korean, so certainly has a little bit of StarCraft blood pumping through his veins. Well, it looks like Belky is going to push out with a very large mech army, but this is not very good against Stalkers and Colossi. Now, the Blue Flame is torching a lot of those Zealots, but at the end of the day, there's 5 Colossi in your face, and you've only got 4 Vikings in the air, so this is not looking good at all. All the Hellions are bunched up. Yeah, you said it, Kevin. Bye-bye, Hellions. And Future's just going to push on through here, and I don't see any way that Belky's going to hold this off.
Nope, not a chance. And the rest of these units are going to go down. There's a few workers that are going to scramble here in a second. Oh, I was actually hoping we would pull the workers. We can just see them slow.